Hi, everybody. Just wanted to give you a quick process video on the abundance of contour drawing. Um, Basically, I think that the PDFs and the examples do a really great job of explaining. But just in terms of like what does a tutorial provide, sometimes it's helpful to kind of like just see the process. So I'm going to do it digitally, so of course it'd be a little bit different from what you're going to be doing. The one thing that we haven't used yet that you have to use is like some type of wet media. Basically that's like any type of material that is wet that you would draw with a brush. So things that are great, if you have it, ink. If you don't have ink, then just coffee, tea. You can even push further and just do something that's like, say you're doing you in your still life, you have some raspberries. You could use like a raspberry tea and make a conceptual link between what you're using and the thing you're drawing. Um, do you recognize that not every material is going to work really well? So you might need to do a bit of experimenting on maybe an older drawing um, and kind of see what the material is going to look like when you try to draw with it. So the idea of the drawing, first of all, is this idea of abundance. So of course that means like basically like a lot, right? And so we're looking at like kind of like packing the space with lots of different types of forms and primarily I think those organic forms are going to be best. That doesn't mean to say that maybe you end up with a geometric form. If that's going to be problematic, it's not. It's just more hard to draw. And so in that sense, that's why I suggest you work with organic forms like fabrics or fruit or something that is soft and round. That's really what we're talking about when we're talking about organic forms in drawing. So you've got the material requirements, which is covered in the PDF, and you've got the time requirements for the length of time you use each material. So that's something to really pay attention to. Now I'm just going to basically do a quick drawing for you here that utilizes the same process, but is obviously going to be less finished than what you're going to do just because it's for a quick tutorial. So I've actually kind of like made some changes to some of my brushes digitally. And we could talk about this in class, but basically there's lots of different types of adjustments you can make to the brushes. So like I have like this liner brush, which I can change the thickness of by rolling. You can just do that with your pencil. So you can change the thickness of your line by how much pressure you put or where you're holding your pencil in terms of angle, right? So I have that brush, and then I've also selected on the technical pen, it's going to be hard to kind of see, but I made an adjustment there. You can see, again, I can do the same type of thing where I can change the thickness of the line by the angle of my brush. Um, or the angle of my pen, I mean. So that's something that's helpful. Oh, look, I made an angel. Um, so then also I have like the highlighter. Highlighters are great things to draw with. So you can see based on my pressure, I can create like a more dense line or a lighter line. And again, to remember that one of our goals here is diversification of line weight. So one of the things to kind of be, this is just the pencil. One of the things to kind of think about is like, as you build your still life, like, do you place brighter objects in the front, in the foreground, um, and then, you know, medium density, medium saturation objects in the middle ground, and then, your your darkest objects in the back, and then replicate the objects with the according colors and materials. So this would be one great way to grade foreground, middle ground, and background. Or do you go the other way and kind of play with the concept of like atmospheric perspective, where you have the darkest objects and you use the darkest material in the foreground, and then you use your, the materials that you have that are lighter in the middle ground, and then you use the lightest materials, in the very background. And so then you get atmospheric perspective where things get um, less sharp the further away they get. That's a great way to think. So you've also got the ability to kind of make decisions about like using materials, like say you have your red color watercolor pencil and your blue watercolor pencil. Well, you could draw objects of those colors with those pencils. Um, or you could kind of just go the opposite way and draw things that are light with pencils that are dark. So up to you. Um, so let's start off with just like, a quick example. So I have just this sort of object here. It is my case for my headphones. And if I draw it, just use contour like we've done all the class so far. Again, I can change the angle of my pencil, and that changes the thickness of the line. Now don't forget you're doing yours, on paper, you're not doing digital. And you're gonna come up. So say I draw this part of this object, and then so I hit my time limit. I then change my material. So now I'm going to go to the next material, change the color. And then I'm going to start the next drawing by drawing over the old object in places that I want to reinforce it. So these might be places that you see that are darker, or maybe just places that you really want to help that object stand out. Allot your time well, because once you're done with it, you're then going to draw out into the next object. And then you're going to do that for the allotted amount of time. Then when your time is up, you're going to change materials. And then I'm changing colors too, but if you're using things like graphite pencils, it might not change color. So then I'm going to draw, oh, that's too big. I'm going to then draw over the old one, re-enhancing parts I want to enhance. I suppose not re-enhancing, enhancing parts I want to enhance. So the idea is one material per object, and each time you draw the object, you draw sorry, got lost in my drawing. Each time you draw an object, you change materials when you're done with drawing that object. So then you do your allotted number of materials that I'm asking for, and then the next thing would then be to just state openly, if you need more time, you can have more time, but I definitely want you to at least hit the minimum amount of time that I've asked for. Then place it into a Word document, please, and make any comments that you'd like to on the document, and then upload it to the Canvas site. So if you got questions, let me know. Thanks, everyone.